What is up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters. Welcome to No Life to Metal. It's a special thrash metal edition of What's Spinning. That's right, gonna do a special thrash metal edition. This is basically a response video to Farley's Retro Fan Cave. He did his top 5 debut thrash albums from bands from the 80s. So it had to be a thrash band, had to be from the 80s, and it had to exclude Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer. Those big 4 bands. I am also going to exclude from my list the bands that he included. And if I remember correctly, he included Eccentrics from the UK, Metal Church, Testament, Death Angel, and Overkill. So those are his 5 bands. So none of those are included here. Love all those bands, but they're not going to be included in my list either. So the nice part about this, response was I just started pulling out great albums from the 80s thrash metal bands that I just hadn't heard in a long time. It was giving them a spin and just reminding me how much I loved some of those albums. But basically, the ones I ended up going with 6. The ones I ended up going with were just ones that, as soon as I heard the top albums of 80s thrash band debut, and these were ones that popped in my head immediately, because those are ones that I listened to a lot and ones that I love. So we're going to go ahead and show really quickly just some of the ones that didn't make the list that I listened to. 1986, At War, Virginia band. This is Order to Kill, New Renaissance Records. I think this is 1988, Atrophy, Socialized Hate. Very, very good thrash metal band. More along the lines of speed metal, but still a great band. This is TOXIK, World Circus, 1987, I think. 1987. Another fantastic record. This one almost made my list. Realm, Endless War, killer album on Road Racer Records from 1988. Stupendous band, ANACRUSIS. Didn't make my list because I really actually like some of their follow-up albums better, but this is really good, raw, heavy, progressive thrash metal. This was, 1988 on Axis Records. From Stockholm, this is Agony, the first Defiance. The one and only album these guys released. This one nearly made my list too. Really like this album. Have this on both vinyl and CD. From the UK, this is really their first full-length album, Condemned to Reality. They also had an EP that came before this, which is on the CD as well, Deny Reality. Great UK thrash metal band from the mid-80s, 87, 88, somewhere in that area. Also on Road Racer Records, this is Defiance, Product of Society. Killer album, kind of gives me that Testament vibe, Definitely an LA style band, a California style band. Devastation, Violent Termination. Again, great album, but I tend to like the 2 follow-ups a little better than this one, but still, this is a great album. Violent Termination by Devastation. This one, I don't remember the year on this one at all. I'm be totally guessing. I'm thinking it's like 87 or 88. Yeah, it's somewhere around there, 87 or 88. And one more that was really close to making my list, and one that definitely could be on most days of the week. Heathen from the Bay Area, California. Their Breaking the Silence album. Just an awesome album. I'd love to have this one on vinyl, but I do not. I just have this CD. This is actually a Century Media pressing from 1999. Has their Pray for Death demo with bonus tracks, which is kind of cool. And last up, I really feel almost guilty leaving this one out because I love it so much. Playing in the background, Voivod, War and Pain, Canadian progressive thrash metal. But here they were just noisy. Punk attitude, has that kind of youthful energy. Not unlike maybe like the first Metallica, Kill 'Em All. It's not technically great playing, I guess, and the recording kind of sucks, but it all works together for its good, and I love this album. War and Pain by Voivod. Have it on vinyl and CD, and I have this special bonus box set DVD of it, CD DVD of it. Great album, but I couldn't decide, I couldn't take any of these out, so we're just gonna go from 6 to 1. Their one and only album. Absolutely love this album. This is Punishment Area by Faith or Fear. I've listened to this thing more times than I can tell you. I actually discovered this band listening to the, they were on the Ultimate Revenge 2 soundtrack with Dark Angel and Raven and Death and other bands, and Faith or Fear were on there, and I absolutely loved them. So I had to find the album. Another one that I, of course, own on CD and vinyl. Just pure 80s speed thrash metal, kind of has that Bay Area sound. Somewhat clean vocals, manic riffing, you know, speed, you know, there's a lot of speed going on here, but it's not necessarily all just double bass. The songs have a variation, but they don't mind melody and hooks, which is one of the things I love about thrash metal bands, when they can combine the speed, the aggression, those, you know, chugging riffs with melody and memorable choruses or hooks, you know, and Faith or Fear, Punishment Area has all those. So that's number 6 on my list. This is number 5 was the one I almost left out for Voivod, War and Pain, and I'm still kind of debating whether I should have put this one in or Voivod, because I love that Voivod album too. But this is Hallow's Eve, Tales of Terror. Kind of manic speed metal thrash with kind of shouted vocals. The big song on here was Metal Merchants, which I believe was also on one of the Metal Massacre compilations back in the day. But this is just pure speed, pure aggression, pure metal. Metal! And I love this album. And again, this is one that I love so much I have it on CD and vinyl. It's highly worth picking up if you're not familiar with this band. Can't really say much more about them other than they have similar, you know, hooks to like Faith or Fear do. You know, they have the speed, they have the aggression, they have the manic guitar solos, they have the pounding rhythm section, but they also incorporate melody and memorable hooks. You know, something that distinguishes them from other bands. I think that's what this band has. Hallow's Eve, Tales of Terror, and to be very honest with you, my favorite album is actually their follow-up to this, Death and Insanity. But this one is awesome as well. Yeah, no doubt this one was going to make my list. This is one of the first ones I thought of when I thought of, you know, 80s debut album that I love. This is Annihilator, Alice in Hell. Just recently picked up a vinyl version of this finally as well. Canadian thrash metal band, you know, Jeff Waters being the main man behind this band. But here it wasn't just the Jeff show. We had Randy Rampage right there on vocals, and his vocals are outstanding. It's unfortunate that he didn't stick with the band a bit longer, because I absolutely love the songwriting here. Jeff Waters has a very unique rhythm style. He has these killer riffs. Some of the lyrics are a bit goofy. Stuff like word salad and what else is on here that's kind of weird. I don't know. Some of the lyrics on Annihilator albums are a little bit weird, but for some reason, the riffs, the songwriting, and the vocals just all bring it together, and I just absolutely love it. I like most of Annihilator's catalog, but there's no doubt that this debut album is just one of the finest thrash metal albums released in the 1980s. This one was actually late 80s, I believe. It's like either late 88 or early 89 on Roadrunner Records. Alice in Hell, Annihilator. Annihilator, Annihilator. Alright, this next one is maybe a bit more obscure. This would have been about 1988, 89 as well. Believer, Extraction from Mortality. This album is just one of my all-time favorite records, period. Love this album. Pennsylvania-based band. Believer were very technical, thrash metal, very tight and brilliant riffing, and just the whole package is just so awesome. I can't even think of a word to describe it other than awesome. And this album is honestly one of my all-time favorite CDs. I'd kill to have this on vinyl. This is one of my holy grail wants on vinyl, and I just haven't found a copy. So REX Records. Kirk Bachman is the guitar player here and the vocalist, and he's got such a unique vocal style, very shrill, very, I don't know, he just sounds very heavy, especially for 89, you know, or 88, 89, whenever this was recorded. Brilliant album. These guys put out a couple more albums after this that were also great. They toured the world with The Sacrifice and Bolt Thrower. Great album. They also had their stuff released on Roadrunner, Road Racer, one of those records in Europe. But yeah, this album is just it's still my favorite of all the records. Even though I love their other stuff too, this is absolutely just pure speed, pure aggression, pure volume, and it's just everything I like about thrash metal. Plus, I love the lyrics on this album. Again, not so much about melody here, but they definitely do have hooks. You know, they got the gang choruses. You know, songs like Unite, or Vile Hypocrisy. Even just saying them, I wanted like just shout along. Because they have that gang choruses, you just want to raise your fist and yell, you know, and shout along. Yeah, metal! And that's what this is all about. Great album from Believer. Extraction from Mortality. 1980. I'm going to say 89. Alright, number 2. This is, frankly to me, this is more of a US power metal band. I know a lot of people call them thrash. And I'm not going to necessarily argue with them because they do have thrashy parts. Definitely more melodic than a lot of thrash metal bands. But if you're going to call Anthrax thrash metal, then I can't see why you can't call this one. This is Flotsam and Jetsam's Doomsday for the Deceiver. Of course, this is well known because this is Jason Newsted's band. Jason, who went on after this album to join Metallica upon Cliff Burton's death. But man, this album is great. You know, it's one of those albums, I think, if you're born at the right time, you bought this as a new release, you consider this a classic. That's me. I bought this as a new release, and I consider it a classic. Every time I listen to it, it's just one of those ones I'm playing, you know, air guitar to, I'm banging my head to, tapping my foot to. It's just an awesome, awesome record. This happens to be the box set, like the Voivod one I showed earlier. Has 3 discs and some live stuff and some demo material. But yeah, there's just not a bad song on here. Always love the instrumental on here, Flotzilla. Let's see what else is on here that I love. Metal Shock, Hammerhead, Iron Tears, Desecrator. Of course, the title track. Also, I love I Live, You Die, and I actually like this version better than the album, the one that showed up on the album after this one. But the demo version is also included on disc 1 on here, and I've always thought that was a great song. So, Flotsam and Jetsam. I cannot say names today. Flotsam and Jetsam. Doomsday for the Deceiver, and I cannot remember the year on this one. I think it was about 1985 or 86, somewhere around that area. Again, one that I have on both CD and vinyl. In fact, I have the CD, the box set, and the vinyl. So yeah, that just tells you how much I do like that record. And finally, one of my all-time favorites. I've loved this since I bought it in 1988, I think is when I picked it up. I was driving down the road. I was working for a moving company, driving a big truck, big box truck, and I driving down the road in some area in New Jersey. I can't remember exactly where it was, and passed this little store on my way to my delivery, and I was like, oh, check that out. I'm going to stop there on the way back. So on the way back, I took a quick lunch break, went in and checked out this little store in the middle of nowhere, popped this album into their little demo player and listened to it, and was blown away by its sheer power and the rawness of it. One of my all-time favorite albums, Vengeance Rising, Human Sacrifice. I remember just being floored by this album, and I think it was 1988. Just floored by it. I just loved it. It's so raw, so manic, you know. Nobody really sounded like this then. These guys were innovators. Yeah, you had Napalm Death, who had their first album, Scum, come out, what, in 1987? But they were more of a... They even had more of a hardcore punk influence, kind of a grindcore-ish thing going on. This is thrash, but it's raw and aggressive. Kind of like Creator and Sodom and Destruction and those, you know, German bands, but with even more edge to the vocals, almost a death metal growl. Roger Martinez just has a gnarly vocals, and I absolutely love this band. I got to see him 1990, 91, I think, and then I remember when I was driving down the road one day listening to this record back in my truck driving days in 1988, 89, somewhere around that area, thinking to myself, man, if I am ever in a band, it's going to be a band just like this. And sure enough, you know, I ended up singing an Ultimatum. We eventually did a cover off this album. The song Burn, written by Glenn Rogers of Hyrax Heretic fame. And we recorded a cover of that version. 2002, I think it was, maybe 2003. We were doing that song live in California. Just so happened, 2 of the guys from Vengeance Rising were in the auditorium. Larry Farkas and Glenn Mancuso, guitarist and drummer. And we played that song, and after the show they came backstage and they said, man, if we ever do a Vengeance reunion, you got to come sing for us. And I said, hey, if you ever do a Vengeance reunion, give me a call. Well, 2004, I got the call, did the Vengeance reunion thing. It was recorded on DVD called Once Dead, Return with a Vengeance. I mean, it was just a thrill for me. You know, here's a band that I've loved since I was pretty much a kid in the 80s, and then 2004, I'm singing for this band and recording a live DVD with them. So I still love this album to this very day. It's raw, it's manic, it's youthful, it's got that kind of edge, not unlike the first Voivod or the first Metallica album, where it's not about perfect timing and I mean, there's timing issues on here, there's production issues on here, but it's raw, it's youthful, it's energetic, it's everything I love about thrash metal, and there is no vocals quite like Roger Martinez. So anyhow, Vengeance Rising, Human Sacrifice, 1988 makes my #1 for my top 6 thrash debut albums of the 80s, excluding those ones I said in the beginning that I was going to exclude. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Got a few videos coming up. I'm going to be doing some requested videos because I get a lot of requests for doing a Q&A. So I think I'm going to finally do one of those. I just kind of shy away from it because what do you want to know? But I'll see. You know, I'll do a quick video asking people to ask questions and I'll answer them. And the other one is people have been asking me, what are your top grails, your top wants on vinyl? So I pulled a bunch of CDs that I know I have on CD that I want badly on vinyl. They would be like grails to me. That's going to be a video I'm going to be doing too very soon. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you leave a comment below. Let me know what your favorite 80s thrash metal debuts were. And let me know what you think of the ones I chose, the ones I didn't choose. And that's it. Appreciate you watching. God bless. Stay strong.